Today on She Is, Dorothea Robev shares how and why she changed her family's diet after her son was diagnosed with the autism spectrum disorder. Antonia Katrangieva gushes about motherhood, life, her yoga practice that she dedicated her life to, and how that helped her with the postpartum depression she experienced. Also, she will show us some quick exercises for calming anxiety and migraine. Maria Riboli talks about how finding our passion can bring more balance in our lives. Dorothea Robev is a research scientist at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York. She is a structural biologist who spends her days investigating the receptor-ligand interaction of proteins involved in neuroguidance and angiogenesis, and other complicated matters such as 3D structures, DNA cloning, and cell culture. Most of all, she is a beautiful person, incredible woman, wife, mom, and a nature lover. Hi guys, Luchia Dragos here from FabSingleMom.com. You're watching She Is. Welcome to the show. My guest today is Dorothea. Dorothea, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Luchia.
Now, you have a 5-year-old son that was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. And I know after that, healthy diet became #1 priority, not only for him, but for the entire family. Now, why is that?
Before he was officially diagnosed, we consulted a nutritionist who gave me the basics for the underlying causes in ASD, especially environmental toxins. And I did my own research, and we looked into possible diets like the gluten-free, casein-free diet and carbohydrate diet. But after some testing, we decided that those diets were really restrictive, and they were causing a lot of problems for us in terms of finding his replacement for his favorite foods, which are limited. I also looked into more potential environmental causes for his delay, since we didn't have history of autism in our family. So we opted to get him on a diet that's organic, without any preservatives, colors, dyes. Since he didn't like a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, we opted to get juices that are pasteurized versus chemically preserved. We looked for products that are MSG-free, no GMO, no high fructose corn syrup, no dyes, no preservatives like propionate, which causes hyperactivity even in normal children, and it's used as a preservative for a lot of carbohydrates.
Now that must be hard. I mean, all the foods, they have some of those ingredients.
Yes, they do. You just have to keep reading labels and identifying products that have just minimal amount of, chemicals in it.
Would you say it's more expensive and it takes toll on your budget, or is it worth it?
It does take toll on your budget. It's definitely a little bit more high priced, but at the same time, it has become so popular, and it's available in so many stores, which led to price decrease with time. Also, when it comes to organic, people have to realize that this is not completely pesticides free. They still use pesticides. They're just more natural. They're found in insects or plants. So they're a little less harsh on the body. At the same time, organic farmers alternate crops, which allows for the crops, for the soil to rejuvenate, and for the crops to be more nutritiously loaded, especially with vitamins and minerals. The modern agricultural methods led to a lot of depletion in the, in minerals and in soil. which led to the food being, less nutritious in those very important supplements. So we have to realize that these days you gotta eat more fruits and vegetables in order to get the same amount of nutrition, vitamins and supplements as before.
What would be the difference between organic and local? Because after you start healthy lifestyle in your home, I changed it too. Like we started buying more organic.
For you.
Yes, and yes, definitely it's a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth it. And you're right, there in most of the stores now you can find organic products. Now, what would be the difference between the farmers market products and the organic products?
So the local produce has more time to acquire a lot of minerals and vitamins versus the organic that can be grown out of state. And in great many cases it's picked up unripe, it's put on trucks, planes, and it's apparently less nutritious than even local ones. So when it comes to grass-fed milk and meat, it means that the cows has been allowed to eat their natural food, which is grass, and this way they are able to produce more vitamin D, more vitamin A. That's why the grass-fed milk usually tastes very much like the normal milk.
If it's corn-fed, there's no vitamin D in the corn?
They just cannot produce as much. They produce much less. Also, the same is with butter. The butter that's from corn-fed milk, it's very white, versus the one from grass-fed milk has a natural yellow color which comes from vitamin A and vitamin D.
Coming up next, how do you manage that?
Because ultimately a child is your ticket to immortality in this material world, so securing its future, it's basically securing your future.
You're a working mom and I'm a working mom, and I know your son has a lot of therapists, you're always busy with him. How do you manage that, and do you find ways to maintain some sort of a balance?
So for me the ultimate outlet is being outdoors, being in the nature. This is where I recharge the most. I don't mind being part of his therapies. It actually gives me a great pleasure seeing him succeed, seeing him progress, being happy, being able to achieve a lot of things that he wasn't able before. A lot of people find this more as a burden and they feel unhappy that they're not spending enough time. I think in this case it would be good for them to focus on the achievements that others do because of their involvement, and be happy for the fact that other people are happy because of the time they're investing in them. Because ultimately a child is your ticket to immortality in this material world, so securing its future, it's basically securing your future and your happiness.
Now before we end, I want you to complete the statement referring to yourself.
She's strong and very resourceful these days.
I know you're strong and you are resourceful, so that's why many times I come to you, because you do your research when you give an advice. Well, Dorothy, thank you so much for joining me. Coming up next.
I thought I would be the Wonder Woman who's, oh, me, never. I'm never going to get depressed, but I did. Exactly after the birth, you rub your hands really, really strongly. And once you feel the friction and the heat,
I think every mom that I counsel, she said the same thing to me.
At age 21, Antonia falls in love with yoga and dedicates her life to hone her craft as a student, teacher, and a scholar. Combined with her martial arts, Eastern philosophy, and Qigong knowledge, she curves her unique style, Yogea. Alongside two other artists and visionary filmmakers, Anna and Kalim, she launches Yogea online educational platform. There are more than 150 free of charge videos that can be found on yogea.org or Yogea's YouTube channel. Hi guys, welcome to the show. I'm Luchia Dragos and you're watching She Is. I have a very special guest for you today. Actually, I have two guests.
Yeah.
That's my littlest guest that I ever had on the show. This is Tony. Hi Tony,
Hi.
Thank you for joining
Hi
me
Luchia,
so much.
thanks for having me, us actually.
Yes. How old is she?
She's 4 months now.
Oh, she's a little doll. What is her name?
Alamira.
Alamira. It's like a princess name.
Yes, it is.
Well, I must say that I watch like your YouTube channel, your videos saved me. I was in such a low point of my life. I was so stressed, exhausted. I had anxiety. You know, when one thing goes wrong, everything goes wrong.
It's like a domino effect, right?
Yes. Yeah. So a friend of mine suggested your channel, and I usually don't like yoga. I never did.
Yeah.
It was kind of too slow for me, but I said, you know what? Let me try.
It resonated with you, right?
Yes.
Great.
And I said, you know, I don't have time to go to the gym. I cannot go in the evening to the...
That's the thing.
Yeah, for a yoga class with my son. So I said, okay, I'll get up 30 minutes earlier and I'll just do it for a week. So I started with the shortest. That's what I love, that you have 11 minutes, 12 minutes, 20
we have
minutes.
different lengths, correct.
And I'm telling you, after a week,
wow.
I felt such a difference. And I do it. Now it's already 7 months. Every morning.
That's beautiful. That's great to hear. That's why it's for this very reason.
You with a dancer's background, why yoga?
Well, actually, I started yoga at the National Academy of Theatre and Film Arts in Bulgaria. It was 20 years ago, and I was really yearning for yoga, and I was looking for yoga teachers, and right at this moment there was an Asian School of Theatre that was affiliated to the experimental department of the academy. So I started, you know, attending the classes. And that's how I started, and I got hooked. I really, really have not stopped ever since. So it's 20 years now.
How yoga affects us different?
It is a psychophysical practice. So as you do the physical practice, it starts to affect your psyche, and you can even change your mindset. So it is very helpful because, first of all, on a physiological level, it boosts all your systems. On a purely endocrinal level, you get an inner massage of the body. So all the different poses stimulate glandular secretion. So you boost up all the processes in the body. And then, of course, it's a practice of the mind. You're able to shut the mind down, but to expand your consciousness. And as you do that, you connect to the flow and to your source. So practically speaking, as you go deeper into the yoga practice, like you said, you experience an ease and a soothing effect, and that's because you're eliciting the parasympathetic nervous system response. You're switching the body to a relaxation mode, and you're not wired all the time.
Right.
But these are some of the minor benefits. They're much deeper, you know, benefits which have to do with your spiritual awakening and the connection to your authentic self. So all that is yoga, and it's different for everyone, and it's important for every person to honor their body's edge and not to push in the poses. It's not a practice for being flexible. It's a body, mind, soul, and spirit.
You became a mom 4 months ago, and you look great. I'm still trying to lose some of the baby fat 5 years later.
I need to shed off some extra weight, but I will eventually.
Now, do you do yoga with her? Like
yes,
mommy
I
and
do.
Me yoga?
Yeah, I do mommy and me yoga with her. I also do my practice, and I let her watch, and I tell her what the poses are. It was really tricky because I was figuring out how am I going to combine my practice, because it's a daily practice, with her. She's awake, she's crying, so I put her on the chair, on a bumpy chair. She watches me as I do it, and she loves it because she's bedazzled by the movement, and she's focused on this, and as I walk her through, she's part of the practice.
You see, my son is 5, he's running around somewhere here. He might be crossing the camera anytime soon, but I do with him yoga, and he loves it. But
it's beautiful.
Cracking up every time when I see him do the poses.
Of course, but that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Now, how life changed in general when you became mom?
I think it changed very beautifully. I was a little angsty first. How am I gonna juggle all my stuff, you know, the yoga and, you know, the company and everything. And yeah, I was very anxious, and I did experience postpartum depression, like most moms do. I thought
I had something like this.
I thought I would be the Wonder Woman who's, you know, oh, me, never. I'm never gonna get depressed, but I did exactly after the birth. And it was my yoga practice that helped me bounce back. So I started like with some exercises 5 days after I gave birth. you know,
Wow,
some
that's incredible.
meditative and breathing, because I couldn't practice yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's excited. So it's been great to be a mom. I've learned a lot from the baby. Most of all, it has to do with being patient and letting things unfold at their own timing and pace, and not pushing and resisting and not being in control.
You see, that's problem for me.
You have to relinquish control.
Yes.
And these beautiful babies and souls teach us this,
Yes.
to kind of be in the flow, to be more receptive of everything that's happening within us, and not to impose things and label them. So it's been very, very uplifting to be a mom.
Now, what advice would you give to young moms? What is one thing that they should do if they have postpartum depression or not? What is good for them to do?
I think the most important thing is to stay true to the very moment. If they're depressed, they should be depressed. It's part of the process. So I think masking it and pumping ourselves up with positive affirmations doesn't really help.
You see, that's what
because
I
it
used
veils
to do.
things,
Yeah.
and underneath you're still stressed out and you haven't resolved your issue. So it's good to be constructive. I highly recommend daily yoga practice, even if it's 5 minutes. Even if you only have 5 minutes for a simple meditation, just to center you and balance you and to align you with your needs, the needs of the baby, and your new life as a mom, it's more than enough. Don't fool yourself that you need an hour to practice yoga. You need 5 minutes. Then next day you'll do 10 minutes, but you need this 5 minutes for yourself.
Let's take a little break, and when we come back, Tony will show us some tricks and tips that we can do in the office, in the car, some breathing exercises, and some yoga exercises. Coming up next.
Breathe through the nose, exhale out of the mouth, open.
5 minutes of meditation in the morning. There's just like sit somewhere, close your eyes.
So we're gonna do a very brief anti-anxiety exercise. So you rub your hands really, really strongly. And once you feel the friction and the heat, you separate the palms. You feel that chewing gummy texture between your hands. This is your aura, your electromagnetic sheath, and it has the ability to heal yourself. So you're healing yourself with your own energy. You're going to take your hands to the crown of your head, use the tips of your fingers, and gently tap the crown of your head, stimulating the hypothalamus, the navigator of your body, to start producing very healthy hormones and secreting hormones throughout the whole body. And then you're going to take the tapping to your eyebrows, around your cheeks, right into your sternum, relaxing your fingertips. You'll feel it, your fingers are relaxed, releasing down into your heart and your solar plexus, all the way to your navel, and tap a little harder here. Good, so we're activating all the main energy channels and wheels in the body. And then you're gonna stroke your legs and you're gonna dust this energy off. So inhale, now with your own energy moving through the head, through the throat, your heart, your solar plexus, down your navel, and dust it off. And one more time, inhale. And as you exhale, release everything, release all the expectations of how you want things to be, and just embrace things as they are. And this is a very brief exercise you can do anywhere. It's called Emotional Freedom Technique. And all it takes is for you to feel the energy coming from your own electromagnetic sheath and to recharge your body with your own energy. And you can stroke the hands, you can stroke the legs, pretty much everything. And just release and feel centered and grounded.
Coming up next.
I think that's the most important thing, for people to be inspired to be their true selves.
So when your kids eat, you need to eat as well.
Tony, those were great exercises. I can definitely do some in my office.
Yeah, that's the point. I
And it's
hope
so
you
short.
will. Yeah, it's brief. You can do them anywhere.
Great. Thank you for joining me. But first, before we end, I want
You're
you
so
to complete
welcome.
the statement referring to yourself. She is.
She's a nurturer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I love to nurture and inspire people through my art and my healing and the yoga, and I think that's the most important thing for people to be inspired to be their true selves.
Well, you inspired me and you saved me and you continue to do everything.
Thank
You're
you
my
so
virtual
much.
best friend.
Thank you. So glad to hear that.
Thank
you,
you for joining me.
Luchia.
Maria Riboli is an Italian-born actress, director, producer, TV host, voiceover artist, acting, health and life coach, and a blogger. Hi guys, welcome to the show. I'm Luchia Dragos, and I have with me again Maria Riboli. Maria, thank you so much again for joining me.
Thank you for having me again.
Now, I absolutely love your blog, Spoon of Life. It's a great idea, a lot of services. You're a holistic health coach and a life coach. I was trying to lose weight for some time, and also when I'm busy, I don't eat. I go to work, then I go pick up my son, we go to the playground, and by 8 p.m. I'm starving. Right. And then I eat whenever, wherever, whatever. Yeah. And then I feel bad about it, and next day I don't eat. I decide, okay, I'm on a diet, that's it. And then by 8 p.m. next day, I'm again back to that cycle. Now, what can we do to break that cycle?
Yeah. First of all, you're not alone. Everybody does it. I've done it. Everybody does it. And I think it's also the lifestyle. You know, we're always running, and sometimes you forget. Like, what did I forget? Oh, I forgot to eat today. So it's very important to try as much as you can to stay in some sort of a structure. So when your kids eat, you need to eat as well. And I know it's hard, you know, sometimes, especially if you're at work. You don't have
carry lunch for him, carry lunch for me.
Right.
It's too much.
It's too much.
Okay.
But you need it. You need your fuel, because otherwise you're right. You arrive at the end of the day, you're starving, you're gonna go for whatever you find, then the guilt kicks in, and that's the worst. So if you're able to have, you know, a structure, if you have to, I love to have the 5 small meals during the day. You have breakfast, little snack, lunch, little snack, and dinner.
So is that like every 3 hours, kind of?
Kind of like that, you know what I mean? But they're all small meals, so you don't start feeling hungry, you know? And then after dinner, that's it, no more snacking after dinner. But you know, you're gonna have a day that, you know, you binge, or you go, you know, and have something that is not that healthy, and it's okay. So what I'm saying is that enjoy it. Don't let the guilt in. Just, if it's one day here and there, nothing is gonna happen.
I go to the gym, I do morning yoga, and then I try to go to the gym during my lunch break, and I feel great. But by 5 p.m. we go to the playground, and then again I feel exhausted. And I look around, all these parents, they're dozing off on the bench. So it makes me feel good I'm not alone. But what is something that I can do to bring back that energy?
It also depends, you know, do you get enough sleep at night?
Yeah, not much.
Not much. So, and I'm sure it's hard to, but you know, try as much as you can to go to bed as early as you can, so you get a good night's sleep. And also, what I say, during the day, drink a lot of water.
That I don't do. I do a lot of tea, but not water.
Yeah, tea is great, but water is essential. You need to keep it hydrated because it will keep you up. And then I always say to my clients, usually like everybody around 3 p.m. they start just, you know, it's the sugar crash, and people go for the coffee or the piece of chocolate or something like that.
Chocolate for me.
For everybody, I think. I love it. And it gives you that, you know, energy rush, but then the crash is worse. So it's important to have your sugar, but have it the healthy sugar. You know, have a piece of fruit, have some dried fruit that it's very high on sugar, but you know, a little piece will just give you a little bit of energy. Nuts are great, something but drink a lot of water.
Try that.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. What about distressing? After I became mom, I became more sensitive, I guess, and aware to my surroundings. I started having anxiety. Now I do breathing exercises, yoga that helps me, but still, like the stress in general. Yeah. What are some of the steps that you would recommend to distress, or some magic?
Some magic. I think, and it's interesting. I think every mom that I counsel, she said the same thing to me, and it makes sense, because if you think about it, all of a sudden you have this amazing life, this miracle that you created. And I think no matter what, you want to protect him or her, and I think the anxiety kicks in. So I understand that. I think what you're doing is great, the yoga, the breathing. I always suggest at least 5 minutes of meditation in the morning. There's just like sit somewhere, close your eyes and breathe. Try to keep your mind clear. The most important thing when we get anxiety is fueled by our thoughts. So if we're not in the moment, that's when we start spinning. And it's always important to bring yourself to the moment.
So like think about something right now, like
right
this
now.
piece of paper I'm
Exactly.
holding. And
you're holding, there's nothing.
Texture.
Exactly, because you know, if you start, you know, past and future, those are thoughts. You only have the present moment you're in. Right now we're here, we're sitting here, and that's it, that's all we have.
Interesting, I didn't know that. Because I was trying to calm myself down. Okay, everything is fine, everything is fine, but I guess it's more my surroundings.
Like a physical thing, okay. You know, your body brings you back to where you are, you know. Pay attention to your breathing, go to your breathing, be sure that it's slow, take a deep breath, that makes a difference right away. And you know, and sometimes I also say to my client, you always have to find your happy thoughts. Something that you can always hold on. The moments that, you know, the panic kicks in, you're like, where are my happy thoughts? And just go there if you need to just, you know.
Thank you so much for joining me, and I'm starting the water first thing tomorrow.
Good, good, that's great.
Now I want you to refer to yourself and complete the sentence. She is?
I'm gonna say, she's free.
That's a great answer. Free. Maria, thank you so much for joining me. That was amazing.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for watching. I'm Luchia. See you next time.